Hey, it's Alexi, and in this video we'll be taking a look at step recording and live recording in the Oxi One MkII. These features allow you to record onto the grid by using the keyboard view in the Oxi One or an external MIDI device like this keyboard here. Okay, we'll start by looking at step recording. Now we are on sequencer 3, which is my wave state on a beautiful piano preset there, and to enter step recording you will hold record and press play. Now we get this step recording menu. Now length will tell you where you are in the sequence. Reset will reset your sequence. Position will scroll through the sequence. Rest will enter a rest, and tie will enter a tie. So we will start by recording a few notes on the keyboard in the Oxi One. Then we'll insert the rest and a couple of ties and keep going. And now we reach step 16, so we have completed our 16-step pattern. Now we can go back to the grid and we can see our sequence there. We'll leave step recording, and now we can press play to listen to our sequence. It's a nice sequence, but we will make another one. This time I will use the external keyboard. So the same process. We'll hold record, press play, and we get to step recording. Now I can insert notes using an external keyboard, for example. Like this, insert the rest, tie. And the nice thing is that you can see your sequence forming here while you are inserting the notes. Now when you use the internal keyboard you don't see this, so I prefer doing it from an external keyboard. Now let's go back and listen to this. Now the settings here, as I said, the position will scroll through the sequence. It will affect the length of your sequence. So the endpoint is at 5 now that I have set the position here. So we only have a 5-note sequence. And I can stretch that out. So this one. So now we have 16 steps again. And of course you can modify your pattern on the grid after recording. So that's about it for the step recording. So we'll move on to live recording. Now for this one we will switch to polyphonic mode in our sequencer 3 here. And I will hold shift and press the record button to get to the record settings menu here. Now here we have different settings for our live recording. There's quantize. I have it set to off right now, and you can set it to on. If it's on, it will automatically quantize while you are recording. And if it's off, it won't quantize while you are recording, but you can quantize later if you want to. Now it's quantizing is destructive, but if you do it later you can undo, of course, or you can save your pattern before you quantize and just load it again if you don't like the results of the quantization. Now quantize percentage is basically how heavy-handed the quantization is. So I have it set to 100% right now. Now there's an overdub mode or a no overdub. So no overdub will always record, it will delete your previous recording as you keep recording. And if you have overdub on, it will allow you to record over the previous recording, so you can basically keep recording, adding notes, and it won't delete the previous notes. Then there is this loop, one shot and extend setting here. Now loop will of course keep looping your pattern, so you can keep recording as long as you like. And one shot will allow you to record once through the pattern, and then it will stop recording automatically. And extend will keep extending your pattern length as long as you keep recording until it reaches the maximum, which is 128 steps. And we'll keep it on loop. Now there's a count in setting here. It's either using a metronome sound or it's silent. It will show on the screen. We'll show you in a little bit. I like to have it set to 1 bar for a slower tempo. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it starts recording. And then we have our metronome settings. Now there are 2 different ways to get a metronome. There's a CV metronome, which I have routed from the CV out 1 into the mixer on my Eurorack. So we can take a listen to that right now. I will set it to CV1. We'll turn on recording and we get this. So what you notice is that the metronome doesn't play during actual recording. It will play only during count in, but you can change the setting here on the last one. There's count in or always. We'll keep it on always for now. Now that was the CV metronome. It will simply output an audio signal from a CV or gate out. It's a bit of a crunchy sounding metronome. But we can also use MIDI metronome. So right now I will set it to channel 2, which is my multi-poly, which I have set for just this purpose, to a kind of a metronome type sound. So we will go back and press record and press play to listen to this metronome here. So it will keep playing throughout your recording. So if you have maybe a CV output or a MIDI device free that you can use as a metronome, then that will work okay. And that's about it for the settings for now. We will start recording. I will add on to my piano here. So we will set this to loop here. It is set to overdub. Quantize is off for now, and metronome is on channel 2. So I'll engage record and press play to start the count in. So you can hear we added notes to the sequence, and as you could hear, the timing isn't exact. So we can go in here and hold this quantize button here, and it says quantize, and now it should be quantized. So let's listen. So now the timing is tight. Now I like to keep quantize on if I'm recording more on here. So basically we can keep adding, we'll add a few more notes on this sequence, do the same thing. Like this. Okay, we are missing a bass sound, so I'll go to my Op6 here, and we can engage record. It's on sequencer 1. We can go there now, and then press play and record the bass line. That's quite a crunchy bass sound there. But you can just keep recording onto different sequences. Now let's say I want a drum pattern here. I can go into sequencer 8, which is routed into my TR6S there, my drum machine, and I will record from the pads here. So we have our drums on these pads. So the same principle, click record and tap play, and so we get drums on here. You can see your drum pattern here, and our piano here, and our bass here. And we can record all of these one by one. And you can record, let's say, a single drum one by one. I'm not a good finger drummer, and my timing is terrible anyway. So I like to record one by one. Just keep looping and adding on to the pattern there. Now, what you may have noticed is that I was playing in C minor, and I had the sequencer set to C minor as well. It will quantize your notes to the scale. So if you're playing in scale, you will get exactly what you are playing. But if you play outside the scale, it will quantize to the nearest note in the scale. You can also record using chromatic, but it appears that the Oxi basically thinks of notes as positions on the grid. So if later you want to use, for example, random perform features, you have to switch to a quantized scale, and it will mess up your sequence. Even though you recorded in C minor and you switch this from chromatic to minor, it will mess up your sequence, because it will simply treat them as steps on here, and it won't move them according to your scale, even if your chromatic sequence is in C minor, if you understand what I'm saying here. So basically, if you want to use the random perform features, I recommend recording direct in the scale you want to use. So right now we could go into random perform here, press play, and add note variation. So get some really nice variation here. Okay, so that sequence is maybe a little bit busy, but I think it sounds nice, and the random perform works really well on these sequences that you record into the Oxi, as long as you take care to use the scale here while you're recording. Unless you want chromatic variations, which is okay if you're adventurous. I'm not. Okay, next we will do more of a freeform recording, just to show you how it works. We will set our scale to chromatic, go into the record settings, set our loop mode to extend and quantize to off. So this way our recording will not be quantized. The Oxi will extend the pattern for as long as we are recording until we reach the maximum, and it won't quantize the notes to a particular scale. So we'll start recording here. So like this. Now our endpoint is at step 65. That's why we stopped recording. So we will set our endpoint to 64 just to make it more of a standard pattern length, and listen to the recording here. So that's our sequence. It's not quantized. Of course, we can go back and quantize the sequence. We can quantize a little bit, let's say 25%, hold and quantize. Like that. And of course, we can quantize more, 100%. So you can record quite freely into the Oxi and basically capture performance. It will be quite short because of the pattern length restriction there, and you have to basically make sure that your division is not like 1 bar, because then you can't fit the information there. So you can't magically have like a super long pattern by setting this to 1 bar, because you simply cannot. You don't have the resolution to record then. Okay, so I think that's it for step recording and live recording on the Oxi One MkII. Now I really like these features. I only recently got into these, and I found these to be quite creative, and creative in a very different way from working on the grid or using the generative features. Now, if you found this video useful, I hope you'll like and subscribe, and I will see you again soon.